All right then guys, welcome back to another video from Reef Drama, and today it's just a few updates just with regards to the saltwater pond that's going to be for Piney and also the orange shoulder tang. Also updates on the quarantine tank and just a couple of other little bits and pieces as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip you around and we'll go straight in for the quarantine tank update. All right, so here we go. At the moment, the reflection still hasn't got any better, unfortunately. Still haven't got the blinds, but they are now en route, so should have them very shortly. So all is well in here, with the exception of, unfortunately, we lost a Bengai cardinal. So we still have 3 Bengais and we still have the 5 chromies. I think the Bengais are mostly hiding in one of those plastic sort of pipe work there, but otherwise seems to be okay. I think it was just the smallest of the 4. Maybe he wasn't getting, you know, enough to eat. Maybe he's being slightly bullied. Not 100% sure. But yeah, unfortunately, we have lost one of the Bengais. Also chucked in an air stone there as well, which is just basically connected to the USB port over there. So see if that helps a little bit. Get a bit more oxygen into the tank. I haven't started any kind of, you know, copper or anything yet. This is just literally the fish in the quarantine, just for sort of visual purposes for the moment. So that's the quarantine tank. Over here, I've also got another little update on something that I purchased through some Amazon vouchers that I recently had for my kids for my birthday. So this is what I bought with their vouchers. And as you can see, Sea Ultra Zero, 3,000 litre. And it drains right the way down to 2 mil, which is really good, especially in these brute bins. My previous one probably left about that much water in the bottom. So if I lift this up, I've got some water mixing at the moment in there, and I might have to, let's put the flash on, there we go. So you can just see it. If I turn off the power head, you can see it down there in the bottom there, all connected to this tubing, which then goes all the way around. And this is what coils round and gets spread out, goes to the house. What you'll see on here is this fitting here is actually like a 3/4 inch, I think it is, basically like a garden tap fitting. So I bought one of those, but with a hose tail on the end. So it's all plastic. Screwed that onto there, and then this pipe then fitted onto the hose tail with obviously some sort of what is it, a wire tie, you know, just to kind of connect it up so it doesn't fall off. But so far so good. It's worked really well, really happy with it, even though it's only 3,000 litres an hour and my previous pump I was using was 4,000, but it still sends the water the 40-50 odd feet to the tank that's in the lounge. So yeah, really happy with that. Works really well. Right, the other update, let me just flick you back round to me, is out here. And this is something that I bought off eBay, and it's actually for boats, marine boats. Basically down on the end of the fish house here, we've got the 2 kind of wires going in, and obviously they've been siliconed in, so stop any water from like running down and going in. But I didn't like the look of it, so I bought these, which, as I say, normally go onto boats, and this is basically covering that hole. So they've been screwed into place, and I've put the silicone as well all the way around the sides, so that will stop any water from kind of getting in. And I think that looks much better than just 2 kind of wires or plastic conduit and then the armored cabling. But it just makes it look a lot better anyway. So another little quick update from the side of the fish house. Let's move on to the next one. Right then, so as I mentioned before, I'm going to be getting a sump for Piney's Pond, and if we have a little look, it's going to be going down across the back here, behind the pond, kind of, you know, just basically sat on the floor with some polystyrene or whatever underneath it. But what I'm going to do is, rather than buying a actual sump, I'm just going to buy an aquarium, glass aquarium, probably about 5 feet in length by, I don't know, 500 mil high and about 400 mil wide. So as I say, it can fit down behind this pond here. Now, what I'm going to be doing is, instead of having baffles fitted, which I can do if my idea that I'm hopefully going to try and work out doesn't work, then obviously I just have to drain the tank down and install glass baffles. But I have a plan to use, instead of glass baffles, a plastic kind of container, so the pump can sit inside the plastic container, and as the water is drawn through the sump or aquarium, whatever you want to call it, it will then cascade over the sides of this container into where the pump is. The pump will then send it back up into the pond. So the container acts like baffles, right? Only it will be 4 all the way around, rather than just one where it kind of just goes up and over and maybe through a bubble trap or whatever else. So I've got some stuff set up outside as a bit of a test. So we're going to head out there now and see if my idea could maybe work. We'll see. Let's go find out. Right then, guys, so this is going to be the test subject to make sure that my idea is going to work. So basically, I've got these two 64 litre containers, I believe they are. These are what I used actually when I moved house, and I put all the corals and rocks and stuff into these with heater and power head, if you may remember that video. So reusing them again, and what I've done is I also had a couple of these Cottony Koi tank connectors from the old pond days, so I've reused those. So basically cut the hole into the sides, so we've got 2. Obviously in the main pond there'll be probably 4, but just for now I'm just going to do 2, and I've got some pipe work and some 90s to go in those as well. And then essentially this container will then sit underneath it, so the water then can come out of here and into here. And then this little kind of plastic container, this is what I normally use when I'm trying to catch piney, put that sort of near to the end, so there is a little gap there. The pump is going to sit into here, so as the water cascades into this one, it will then draw it up and over into here, and the pump will pump it back up to that one. So that's pretty much how I'm hoping the pond and the sump will work inside the fish house. So just to give you a bit of a view there. So what I'm going to go and do now is set up the pump. We'll get it in there, we'll plug it into the outside socket around the side of the fish house there, and then get these filled up with water and see how we get on. Right then, we are ready. It's all full, so I'm going to switch it on. The power, just got the power in the shed at the moment, just with the controller kind of hanging up on the door there. And let's go. Switch it on. So it should ramp up slowly, and we should start to see, yep, there we go, the water, or the air at the moment anyway, being transferred out until it sort of starts to push the water. So you can hear it. There's the water going in now. This is starting to come down. You can hear the pump. They're obviously running now a bit faster. Well, it could be this 3,000 litre might just not quite be powerful enough to do the experiment that I want to do. Now I'll tell you what we are getting. I forgot about that, didn't I? Yeah, it's floating. So I'm going to have to hold it down. So this plastic little tank might have to change to a little glass one so it doesn't float. But essentially the water is being pulled out of this container, which will have to obviously then be glass. So it's pulling it in from the main part of the tub and cascading it over, not all 4 sides, because unfortunately this path isn't level, but it's cascading it over that end anyway. and then it's pumping it back up there through the tank connectors straight back into this part. So basically that would end up being Piney's Pond. This container is the sump, and this is what I'm trying to replicate, making sure this is going to work. Now as soon as I let go of this, you can see it starts floating. So obviously a plastic container, as I say, is not going to work, will have to be glass, but it is working. And depending on the height of the little glass tank would also give us the height in that part there, which would be for, like, say, a skimmer. So this is going to float, but let's turn the power off, and in theory, if I can find the switch, in theory what should happen if this was sunk to the bottom is whatever's in there above that line where the tank connectors are will now end up back in here. So just like a typical tank and sump, when you turn the power off, and you've got to make sure that you've got enough space in your sump for the water that's in the tank that's going to cascade down without it overflowing all inside the cabinet. And there we go, so that's now stopped, and we're pretty much back to the water level of where we were when we first started. So I'm going to say that works, but I will have to change that for a glass tank. But yeah, okay, that gives me food for thought anyway. We shall move on. Right, okay, so we have got a glass tank now inside the container. So let's have a little look at this, and we'll turn the feed off. There we go. And then that should now start up the pump and start sending the water back up to the top container. There we go, you can see that there. And then let's see what happens now. Have a horrible feeling, probably going to float, or at least try and float. Yeah, you can see it moving. Look at that. So back to the drawing board. Right then, guys, so we've sussed it. We've gone back to the plastic container, because that would ultimately be much better sitting on top of the glass sump. And then we've got a number of rocks in there with the pump down there. So if we turn this on like so, and that should start taking the water out of there and putting it up there. Here it comes. So that's starting to go through now. And then what we're going to see is, obviously this is no longer floating, and this is now just going to start to take the water out of the little plastic container and overflowing in from what we're calling this as being the sump. And this basically is just mimicking the baffles in a sump. So I think that will be fine. As you can see, all seems to be working. And then as soon as I put it onto a feed like that, then the water then just carries on cascading back into the plastic container, not being sucked out anymore because the pump is off and it's no longer floating either. So I think that's what we're going to go with, and we'll see how it works when it's in the actual sump itself. Worst case scenario, I'll just have to drain the sump and silicone in some glass baffles, but just trying something different, really. Well, there we go. So some ideas sort of work, but well, as I said, you know, if I find that it doesn't work very well, then I can always put glass baffles in. However, let me know, guys, what do you think? Stick a comment down in the comment section below. Give me any ideas, any suggestions that you might have. You know, I don't know, maybe there's something that someone will know that will be able to tell me why that wouldn't work. But as I say, let us know anyway. I've got some new equipment actually for the pond. So just going to show you what I've got so far anyway. Obviously I need to purchase some more stuff, but this is a starter for 10 anyway. So flick you round, there we go. So you might remember when I had my Red Sea Reefer 425XL, this was the light that I originally started with. And as you can see, I've kept it. So this is going to be going across the top of the pond here. Now, because there won't really be any corals in here, maybe some soft, maybe some mushrooms, maybe some Kenya trees, but no real, hardcore corals. I think hopefully this will do. What I'm going to do is if I show you up here, we've got this 6x2 beam here. And then there's another one all the way over there, and then the same again all the way over there. And there's like 5 going from front to back across the actual roof of this fish house. But in between these two, hidden behind the ceiling panels, is a 4x2s. So I'm going to screw up through, once I know where the 4x2 is, screw up through, put a hook in there, put a hook in the middle of those two, and then obviously then the wires will then come down, and hold the light sort of across the middle of the pond itself. And I've got the 6 main lights in here anyway, so obviously there's always going to be some sort of light in here, but hopefully that will help, because we want to see Piney and, the orange shoulder tang and the lionfish and whatever else that we get in here sort of swimming around all the rocks, and we'll have the sand in here, so you'll be able to see the fish like from above. But it will give a whole new kind of perspective really, rather than looking through the front of a normal glass tank, we'll be able to look down on top of them. So I think that could be quite cool. Also, as you can see, a new ReefMat 1200. I purchased this second hand from somebody that was either shutting their tank down or I'm not sure what the reason was, but he had it for around about 3 odd months. So it's very clean. The only thing I haven't done is plugged it in, but I'm sure it's fine. So that was a great buy. And then I've also purchased some of this. Now you might notice that it doesn't say Red Sea on the front, although it clearly has the Red Sea ReefMat pictured on the front of it. Now this comes from AliExpress. The gentleman that I purchased this from actually mentioned about getting these from there, and this was like £10.79 this cost me. So I'm going to give it a go in Piney's Pond. It looks to me like it's exactly the same. It's even got, all the different instructions on the back there. So I think that will be okay, but we'll give it a go and kind of, I'll report back at a later date as to how that went. The other thing here, also purchased second hand from somebody that was swapping them out for gyras or something. I can't quite remember now, but bought this one, as I say, second hand. Can't wait to get this in and get it powered up, because this is going to be a beast Octopulse 4. So that's going to be really good. Not sure where I'm going to be putting these control panels yet, maybe mounted on the wall, or I don't know yet. But the main thing is we'll get it in and we'll get it powered up, and we'll see what sort of power that gives us. Obviously, I'll be having a couple of gyros in here as well, but that will be a starter for 10. So that so far is the equipment that I've got. The sump I still need to order, but I'll hopefully be pulling the trigger on that in the next sort of 3 or 4 days. So basically I purchased this wood. I've got a little offcut here that's not quite the right size. You can see by where the pencil mark is. But what this is going to be for is to go into here and push all the way in, so it will be flush, and that's how I'm going to clad the side of this pond, so that we don't just see a large black kind of pond. The other thing that I've done, and I'll come back to this in a minute, is we've got it on some insulation. So I've purchased some 150mm Celotex sheet of this PIR insulation, which was 8 foot by 4 foot wide. I had to cut it straight down the middle so that it would fit in my car. Here you can see a picture of it on the workbench being cut down to the right length, because obviously I only needed 6 feet and not 8 feet. And then it's all been wrapped with the silver foil tape, apart from down the 2 ends like there, where that wasn't my cut. So my cut was in the middle here, and they have got silver foil tape on, and then the silver foil tape on all the ends. So then it laid it on the ground, silver foil taped it so it sort of stayed together, as you can see in the picture. And then the next picture that's now on the screen is showing you the 18mm hardwood plywood that's on the top, and that will obviously spread the weight of the pond itself. And then obviously then you've got the pond sat on it. And yes, I obviously had to throw a spirit level on and make sure that it was level, which it is. So very happy with that. So coming back to what I'm going to do on the sides. Now I'm also going to insulate the sides as well. So this will have around about maybe 40 or 50mm insulation that will basically sit up against all 4 sides of the pond. And then if we circle back to this piece of wood, if you think that's going to be, say, in there, and as I say, it will be flush to the edge here, and we've got the 18mm hardwood plywood down here, these panels, which they will be different, I won't be using these ones, this is just so as you can see what my plan is, that will basically go up to the edge, and then just move this over a little bit. So that will be on the very edge there, and then I'll be able to get a screw straight through into that piece of wood. So, and it will be like level obviously with the top. And then down at the bottom, it will hover just off the ground by, 5mm or so. And then I'll be able to get another screw into that point there. So that will basically hold that nice and tight. And then the next one, tongue and groove into there. It's difficult to do with one hand, but it goes in like so, which will hide the screws. And then the next one then obviously will get screwed up here where this piece of wood will be, and then again down there. And that will go all the way around all 3 sides. I'm obviously only going to do the 2 ends and the front. So that's my plan. Again, got any ideas, any suggestions, any comments, let us know. That will be great to be able to read through. I've also marked on here as well just where it needs to sit, because it's perfectly level from both sides and also to the front. So if it does get moved, then I know then I just need to put it back to where these lines are. But I'm going to make sure it's scaped and filled up with water first. Then I'm going to put the insulation on, because I am expecting these sides to maybe bow out just very slightly. So I don't want to put the insulation on first and the, clad with this bathroom PVC paneling, and then fill it with water. I'm going to do the water first, and then I'll put all the stuff on once it's settled down, so to speak. So you won't see the sides and the insulation being done for a while, because we've got still a long road ahead of us where, we've got to get this scaped, and then we've got to get it filled up. So we've got a lot to do. And on the scape, let me just stop this video quickly, and I'll show you what I've got for that. And here it is. So I've got a lot of Marco rock and also ocean rock, all kind of mixed in, all inside these 4 crates, loads of it. So hopefully that's going to be good enough to give us a nice looking scape, as well as a nice lot of caves and whatever else that we're going to do in there. Oh, in fact, all these bags as well behind are all filled as well with the Marco rock. So tons of it, basically. And this is all going to get jet washed off and allowed to dry. And then I'll be taking it in and starting the scape. But yeah, there's some really cool pieces here, really big Nice kind of all holes going through it. So not that we'll probably have any fish that will fit in these holes. That one there's got a reasonable sized hole, but again, probably still too small for the sort of fish that will be going into the pond. But yeah, that's the little update on the pond and the rocks that I've got for the scape and some of the equipment that I've got to start with. Right, so just a little update really with this tank. Haven't shown this for a little while, I guess, on here because I've been sort of concentrating on the fish house and the pond and everything else. So just wanted you to see everybody in here is still doing okay. We've got Piney, obviously. We've got the orange shoulder tang there at the back. And we've got the purple tang and the yellow wrasse. Now they're the four that are in this side. Now then we've got the egg crate, which is running down there. And in there, as you can see, we've got the regal tang. And over the back is the cardinal, which is a bit dark over there. But you might be able to just make him out. So they're all the fish. Reason for the egg crate, in case you haven't seen previous videos, is because the regal tang was nipping at the tail fin of Piney. So obviously I couldn't have that. So for the moment, the egg crate is going to have to stay in there until Piney and the orange shoulder tang move out to the pond. Then obviously that then can be removed and the blue regal will then have the whole tank then to swim around in once again. We do have aiptasia in the tank, which I'm sure you can pick out coming off of some of these rocks, you know, around here. So I will have to get some of the Bergia nudibranchs again to sort that problem out. I'm guessing because this is a brand new tank, brand new pipework, brand new sump. I had it previously in the Red Sea 425 XL and the Bergias cleared it, or obviously so I thought, but there must have been some still either in one of the rocks that got transferred over, or maybe even on some of those nanotech bio balls that were transferred over as well. Who knows, but they have come back, and obviously that's something that I will have to deal with. But this is just a bit of an update really, just so as you can see, everybody is still alive and doing well. And what we'll do is we'll just do a little quick sort of feed just for the orange shoulder tang. Just got some pellets here, just dropping into the water. And then the purple one and the wrasse all get involved as well. As you can see, they love them. They love them, their pellets. And that will do. All right, so let's head back out to the fish house. Right then, so the one of the final updates that I've got for you for the fish house, I need to wait until it's dark to be able to show you. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, it's quite light still. I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to go in, have a coffee. I'm going to wait until it's night time, and then I'm going to, well, roll the clip, which you will see very shortly. But for me, I've probably got about 4 or 5 hours to wait. But yeah, hopefully you'll like it. Just a quick video of the blinds coming down. All fully automatic. All right then, guys, so how cool is that? I'm really, really pleased with these blinds. They look really good. They're grey on both sides, so rather than just having the colour on the inside and then it's white on the outside, I made sure I got one that was grey, anthracite grey, whatever colour the grey is, but it's on both sides. So it looks good from the inside, it looks good from the outside. It's all fully automatic, which is really cool. I can have it going down when the temperature in the fish house reaches a certain temperature, and then they can close. I can have them obviously going up in the morning at a certain time and closing at a certain time in the evening. So yeah, really cool. Lots of different things I can sort of set up there for the automation. So, and as you probably know by now, I like my equipment and I like my automation stuff. So try and get as many things automated as possible. So yeah, really happy with that. And finally, we'll be able to get some better shots of the quarantine tank without all that kind of light behind us spilling in, because, well, we'll just be able to tell to shut the blind. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video and these updates, and I will continue on with my purchasing for bits and pieces for this pond. It's going to take a little while. Unfortunately, I don't have any sponsors. I'm not getting anything free. I'm having to purchase this all myself. So, you know, it takes a little while to source it, find it, especially if it's secondhand. Got to be decent, got to be a good price. And something that obviously is going to work with the pond. So as I say, it takes a bit of time, but I'm going to carry on and I'll keep updating you as I get new bits and pieces. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget, give us a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. There is a lot of things going to be coming up, especially with this saltwater pond. There's not many people in the UK that's doing an indoor saltwater pond. So subscribe, and then also don't forget to click the little bell. You'll get notified as and when I put new videos up. But for now, for me, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.
Easy go.